Hello, welcome to Artichoke Music. Hey. I'm Leah Mochi. I'm the executive director here. And is there anyone here for the first time? All right. Wow. Thank you for coming. It's so great to see new faces out there. Artichoke has actually been in Portland for 53 years. Most of the time it was on Hawthorne. Before that, it was briefly in Northwest 23rd. But we moved over here in 2017 and have been trying to get the word out that we're still alive. So thank you all for coming. We do a lot of things at this little nonprofit. We have a school. We have a consignment store and that artists bring their instruments to and help to support all of our programs. We have open mics every single Wednesday that are free for teen, women, queer, acoustic open mics. And then we have monthly jams going on. We have a harp jam, a ukulele jam, guitar, all sorts of things. So we also work with a lot of amazing nonprofits in town and give them free space, such as Swan Songs and Soldiers and Voices, and really just are trying to be here to help promote local artists and give them a chance to be on a stage in a little room where people will hear them and help keep this ecosystem of musicians alive in Portland. So thank you all for coming. A little bit of housekeeping is that we have a bathroom in the store and up the stairs if you don't want to use this one. And please turn your cell phones off. We are live streaming tonight. So anytime you aren't able to come to a show, you can go to our YouTube channel and see wonderful artists all the time at Artichoke. The most amazing thing about this nonprofit, in my opinion, is that we are mostly entirely volunteer run. There's over 60 active volunteers, and that is the heart of Artichoke. And it's also the individual donors that have kept us going. We would never be alive without this amazing community. So if you're thinking about wanting to be part of a really cool place, think about maybe volunteering. We have Lee volunteering at the bar tonight, so thank you so much, Lee. And we have Chris running video. Thank you so much, Chris. And we have Olivia on tech running sound. Thank you, Olivia. So, tonight, as you all probably know, is a really special night. When Walter Park's wife, Margo, contacted me saying that he was coming into town to see family, I was absolutely blown away that we might have a chance in this intimate theater to have the legendary Walter Park. So I'm really excited you all came out. And as we always want to support local artists, I asked Anastasia Lang, who is a wonderful new up-and-coming female artist here in Portland, to just do a few songs for us to start us off. So without further ado, please welcome Anastasia Lang.
Apparently I'm a mouth surprise, Mary? What is it? How do you say it in French? That's what I am. That's what she said.
Your boots are amazing.
Well, thank you. Get all sorted in the silence. All right. Make sure all right. Yes, so I'm a mouth surprise. So, but I am so grateful for this opportunity to play just a couple of songs. I'm going to do two songs. They're originals. And one of them is a new single that is out. It was just released 2 weeks ago. The other one has not been recorded yet, so it's, I like to think of it as wet and free, floaty, kind of like clay, like when you make something out of clay and it's not quite set yet. I like to do, I don't know if anyone here has ever seen me before, but I tend to do music or write songs about love and marriage and death as related to the love in the marriage and existential dread. And so I call it Bohemian Gothic folk pop. And so these two songs are related to each other. they are about the marriage and the death stuff, because they tend to go hand in hand sometimes if you've got the right marriage. And I wanted to write a song that was kind of an answer or, like a response to Dolly Parton's Jolene, which is a great song. And I wanted it to have relevance to one of my previous marriages. I have a few behind me. And it's called Arlene. A voice on the telephone says my man ain't coming home. She says her name is Arlene. She says, he's my man now. He doesn't love you anyhow. He's never loved until me. Arlene, 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 Arlene. You can have him today. Please take him away. You can have his screaming fits. You can have his crazy threats. I'm so tired of it all. Oh, you can deal with all the mess. Listen to him cry, confess all the things he done wrong. Oh, Arlene, 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 Arlene. No, you don't know his drunken rage. You think it's all fun and games. Just you wait and you'll see. There will come a dangerous time when you'll get on his wrong side. I'm warning you, Arlene. Arlene, 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 Arlene. You can have him today. Please take him away. So come and get his clothes right now. They're right outside there on the ground. I'm so done with this boy. While you've been slinking round with him, I've been living life again. I'm so ready for some joy. Arlene, Arlene, join in. Arlene, 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 Arlene. You can have him today. Please take him away. You can have him today. Please take him right away. Thank you. Thank you. You were looking a little worried there, and I was a little worried you weren't digging it, but okay. I think the applause was nice, so thank you. So actually, that is based on something that really happened. And, here's the other one. And when that said husband I didn't confront his lady, his mistress. She didn't confront me. But I did find out about it, and I remember going, damn, that's great. Like, she can have him. And we were talking, he was talking to me on the phone. We were kind of separated. We were talking on the phone, and he was like, I hear that you may know something. And I just, I just said, yeah, I heard you have a girlfriend, and she can have you, and it's great. And he's like, what? So this next song is related to that marriage, but it's mostly not about him. It's about a best friend, the kind of best friend. I mean, I know everyone here probably has a best friend, but it's not the kind of best friend that'll just, hold your hair back when you're puking, so make sure your hair stays okay. No, this is the best friend that will be there for you when you need to hide the bodies. That best friend. That's here we go. Got a live one. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I have a best friend like that. And when I was going through that marriage with that guy, or that breakup with that guy, I was telling him some details about it. And my best friend wanted to take care of it. So we talked about it a little bit. So I wrote a song about it. It's called Today's the Day, and it's out now. You can look it up on all the streamings. Oops. I'm standing on the corner. I'm waiting for my best friend. I don't know when he's coming, but I'll wait here till the end. He's bringing me some good news. I can feel it in my bones. I don't know when he's coming, so I'm standing here alone. Things are gonna change. Yeah, today's the day. Things are gonna change. I just know. Lately, life's been hard, not knowing what to do. Been feeling sad and beaten down, but my best friend's coming through. He told me his plan over coffee, and we spent the afternoon going over all the details. Just too good to be true. Today's the day that things are gonna be good again. Yeah, today's the day things are gonna be good. I just know. Hope dark days are behind me now, and promises can be believed. It's been so bad for so long now, but maybe I can finally breathe. Yeah, yeah. I see him coming now. He's got a big smile on his face. He takes my hands in his. Such a lovely warm embrace. He tells me that it's over now, and no one's ever gonna know. Covered his tracks and he's cleaned the scene. My man won't hurt me anymore. No, no, no. But today's the day my life is gonna change. Yeah, today's the day everything's gonna change. I just know. Yeah, I just know. Yeah, I just know. Now I know. Thank you. You can find me on all the streamings and on the Bandcamp under Anastasia Lang. I appreciate it. Thank you for letting me play for you tonight. Get ready for Walter Berg's next. Leave my axe up here just in case.
Hello, everybody. Hello. How are y'all doing? Let me take just a second to get situated here. About an hour ago, I felt like I was going to sit down through this show, but I don't know. We'll see. I never know. How's everyone tonight? Thank you. I'm good. I'm very grateful to be here, and it's an honor to play in Portland, and I'll explain that later. I mean, it's an honor to play anywhere, but especially here. But woo, that sounds good. I don't know if you know this, but I'm originally from Florida. First, has anyone seen me, except for I've got some relatives here. Has anyone seen me before? Or is this kind of oh, wonderful. No. Wonderful. I'm originally from Florida. Spent the better part of my adult life in New York City. And I played for 10 years with Richie Havens. Did anyone see Richie when he came through town? Yeah. We played the Aladdin a couple of times and some other places, but I'll get to that later as well. I say this because in the music business, many of you know that when you're let go or when your job ends, there's just there's no pension and there's no IRA, that kind of thing. So when Richie decided he wasn't going to play anymore, I had been with him for 10 years. I asked myself, what do I have to offer the world? You put all your eggs in one basket, to keep a gig like Richie Havens' gig. It was a great gig. I played every night for 10 years, almost, Thursday through Sunday, all over the world. And but I asked myself, I wasn't afraid. It was an adventure. And I said, what am I going to do? What do I have to offer that maybe other musicians don't? How can I survive? And I had remembered as a kid going out into the Okefenokee Swamp in southeast Georgia. I used to camp out there. You could freeform camp. Now you need permission and everything. But, and on my own, I would bushwhack and find these old foundations of buildings and railroad tracks just laying out on the islands of the swamps. And I remembered those wanderings when Richie decided he wasn't going to play anymore. And I said, if there were that many people out there on those islands in the Okefenokee Swamp, there must have been some music made, you know. And so I took it upon myself on a hunch to go to the Library of Congress and see if any music had been recorded, written about, or whatever. And sure enough, I found a small trove of music. And about 30 songs, most of which were not appropriate for what I do, but about 15 of them I could make something out of. So that became my project. I started studying the music that was made out in the Okefenokee Swamp. Most of it was European in nature. It was white homesteaders who had lived out there. But there was an influence of black folks as well. And I start this song as a song of hope. I start this song as evidence that, at least in that day in the South, black and white music was starting to form, and it was the beginning, almost, in my opinion, I don't make light of it, of Southern rock. And Southern rock would end up being like country music fused with funk music in a way. You know, it was funky a little bit. But getting back to the history, the white folks were singing hollers, and they were playing reels from Scotland and Ireland, and they were singing shape note songs. So those three types. And the black folks who were out there, sadly, were out there typically, as we do in the United States at that time, to work. They were out there to clean up the mess. And they were singing songs, they were singing work songs. So this song that I'm starting out with was registered in the Library of Congress as one of the old-fashioned songs. But they didn't know it, but it was a combination of music that was coming out of Mississippi at the time. Now, this was during the time when the folks, what's the name of the guys who were recording in the Mississippi? I feel who were recording the songs in the Parchman prison. I can't believe it. It was a father and son. Yeah. Say it again. Lomax, Alan, and I think John Lomax. So at the same time, the recording of this music was happening in the Okefenokee. This is going to be the background of a lot of the music that I play in this concert. That's why I'm starting with a little talking. So can I go ahead and play some music for you? Okay. Art class, are you ready? Starts with a holler and goes into one of the old-fashioned songs, which actually came from Mississippi. Give me some showbiz if you can. Okay, here we go. Well, I'm coming home again. I'm bound to see my kin, and I don't know who'll be waiting by and by. Well, I pray they let me in. Oh, I'm tired of traveling, and I don't know if I'll make it by and by. I've thought upon my faults. I'm gonna break, but people, I'll be strong. And it ain't nobody's business but mine. Well, I'm going nowhere, Jack. Got a banjo on my back, and it ain't nobody's business but mine. Oh, it ain't nobody's business. No, it ain't nobody's business. No, it ain't nobody's business but mine. Thank you very much. That was, the first part was a holler, and I transcribed that note for note, and the middle part was improvised, but the lyrical part was a song that they sang, and they just thought they'd been in their family for years, and then you compare that to the lyrics that Bessie Smith was singing, and some of them are right on the money. So I suppose this is difficult to establish, and I'm doing the research as much as I can to get more information about the culture that the black folks brought to the Okefenokee Swamp, and but there were 300 men out there. But anyway, good evening. What did that sound like? Was that okay? Thank you. Thank you. I'm starting mellow tonight, and I'm gonna pick it up, and we'll get the painting shaking a little bit. So, Mary came back and said hello to me a couple of minutes ago in the dressing room, and I said I'm a little bit. I'm just reacquainting myself with the repertoire. I've been playing Christmas music since October, and I don't mean in a cheesy way. I do a Christmas show in as many venues as I can, and I take these old carols. And this is another thing about me, and this is what I love to do, is to take piano music and mostly a lot of it is from churches, and it's not my I have no spiritual agenda or any of that stuff. It's just historic in nature for the most part. And I take the old piano music, be it from a pipe organ or Hammond B3 in a storefront church or something, and translate it to guitar. And you're gonna hear a lot of that tonight. I'm gonna try not to talk too much, but I do want to give you the background of some of these things. So, on the heels of playing a lot of Christmas music since October, I'm gonna do this one, and it is one of the most beautiful Christmas songs that I've ever heard, and it's one of those songs that I can listen to in July, and it's okay, and I'm sure a lot of you do too. So let's see how I do on this. Start that again. It's Christmas Eve, babe, in the drunk tank. An old man said to me, won't see another one. And then he sang a tune, a rare old Mountain Dew. But I turned my face away and dreamed about you. Got on a lucky one, came in 18 to 1. I had a feeling this year's for me and you. Oh, happy Christmas, I love you. A better time when all our dreams come true. Found me, I put them with me, babe. I kept them with my own. I can't make it all alone. I built my dreams around you. The boys from the NYPD choir will sing in Galway, babe, and the bells are ringing on Christmas Day. Woo. That's Fairy Tale in New York, of New York. It's written by Shane McGowan of the Pogues. And it's a handful to play, let me tell you. I have no business playing that on solo guitar. I'll get it one day. Yes. But, you know, it's fiddle music and fifes and pipes and all that stuff. And it's, but I just love it. It's so beautiful, you know. And, anyway, I'm going to pick it up a little bit. One of the things I learned from Richie, I learned many things from Richie. He never, ever sat me down and said, here's a lesson in life. I just learned by observing. And Richie Havens was a great mentor in the sense of he never did a song the way the original artist did. It was impossible for him. He did not talk or think in terms of musical notation and musical structure the way musicians who are schooled in college and so speak. He spoke in terms of emotions and so on, and it was kind of confounding at first when I first got the job with Richie, but then it was wonderful once I knew his language, and I stayed with him for 10 years. This was a song that was originally came from biblical scripture, and there was a parable that said it was about keeping your hands on the plow, all right? And the concept is you keep your hand, I mean, this applies to anybody. It doesn't matter whatever religion you are, but the concept is keep your hands on the plow and just do your job, just plow straight. The minute you get pride and take pride in yourself and you say, look what I've done, I just want to look back and look at my work, you start plowing crooked, you know? If you want to turn around and say, look how long that straight line is, well, then you plow crooked. So, but in the civil rights era, in the United States in the 60s, Mavis Staples and Pete Seeger got a hold of this parable, and they said, we're going to change it up a little bit. And we're going to call this one, Keep Our Eyes on the Prize. How are y'all doing? Welcome. All right. Paul and Silas bound to jail, don't have money for the gold they pay. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Paul and Silas began to shout. Doors popped open, all walked out. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Silas began to shout. Doors popped open, all walked out. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Oh, I got my hands on the freedom plow. Won't take nothing from a Jenny now. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize. Keep your eyes on the prize. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Woo. Thank you. Yeah, I love playing that one. It just kind of wakes me up, you know. This is an old code song. Before I got this from Richie. He played it in the early parts of his career, and I've kind of taken it on and do my own thing with it. One of my I have two groups. One of them is called the Unlawful Assembly, and we take old spirituals. Thank you. We take old spirituals, and I was, it's a daunting task. I have to say, I'm the way we're traveling now. I'm the only white man in the group, and at first I felt like, what the hell am I doing? I just really felt like I was trespassing, on a body of work and on an experience, and I'm just gonna say I'm proud of this, but I had an affirming moment on the tour that I just did in New England, and we haven't been touring much, but this is one of the songs that we took on, and I've had that what the hell am I doing for a while, and this older woman came up to me, and my band members have been telling me this for a while, and I'm playing, quite full disclosure, most of the audiences I play for are white audiences, or primarily, and these two older black ladies came up to me in Massachusetts, and she says, Walter, we're so glad you're doing this repertoire. These folks need to hear this from you, And at first I didn't know. I'm like, why me, And I get what she was saying is like, especially older black folks, they know the story, They know these stories, these code songs, and I felt not redeemed, but I felt like I had a ticket, like it was okay, like somebody had stamped my ticket, it's all right to be doing this, and it seems to be a journey that is worth doing, but I've been trying to do the research. My wife's mother and I went down into Mississippi a couple of years ago, and I'd made a prearranged trip to try to learn more about some of the old spirituals, and I was kind of metaphorically embraced because the folks were telling me not many people are carrying this music on outside of the church, and the church people know about it, but my interest, like I said, is to keep the history of it going, and this is one that is in that body of work. It's called Keep Your Eyes. No, it's it's one of those keep your eyes. It's follow the drinking gourd. So yeah, I knew you had to keep your eyes on something. The drinking gourd was a metaphor. It was a code song. It was a metaphor that foretold of a slave breakaway in southwestern Alabama, southeastern Mississippi, where the Tombigbee and the Alabama River drain into Mobile Bay. Are y'all with me still? I'm talking a little bit, but I've done a little research and found out they think this song kind of stemmed from that area. The Tombigbee is much like the Mississippi. It just snakes around back on itself. And you have to constantly, if you were going to walk along the riverbanks at night, being pursued, trying to lay as low as you can, you had to know where north is, because you get fooled by that river. So the drinking gourd was sung as as a code to foretell of a breakaway the next morning. And this is one that Richie used to sing, and it's called Follow the Drinking Gourd. When the sun goes back and the first quail calls, follow the drinking gourd. There's an old man who's waiting to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. There's an old man who's waiting to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking gourd. Well, the riverbed makes a mighty fine road. Dead trees will show you the way. Use the left foot, peg foot, traveling on. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. There's an old man who's waiting to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking gourd. Well, the river ends between two hills. Follow the drinking gourd. But there's another river on the other side. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. There's an old man who's waiting to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking gourd. There's an old man who's waiting to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow, follow, 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 follow the drinking gourd. Thank you very much. Thank you. Ooh. Is it all right so far? Yeah, okay. Thank you. Thank you. All right, I'm searching. Richie, I don't know. I'm talking a lot about him because we came here so much. But he taught me that it's prudent to know the first song you're going to play and then the last song, and then everything else is the audience. They choose it, just from the vibe, And so I'm gonna lighten it up just a little bit here. This is I guess the first song in the repertoire. Well, that I have written, and one of the I play about 20 years ago. I put a group together called Swamp Cabbage, and it's a fun band. It's the opposite of the other group. We're inspired by reels and hollers and banjo songs, but it's really it's an electric folk band, but more electric than folk. I mean, it's really fun, and but when I first put it together, I was trying to find musicians in New York City who were from the South. I did not want any northern musicians. I love my northern friends, but I was homesick, I'd been in New York City for so many years. And this guy, this is really before the internet, not before the internet, but most people were still doing things with phones, I mean, talking, not texting and emailing. But a fellow called me, and he was from Atlanta, and he basically had the gig just because of his accent, So he was a bass player, and the drummer called me, and he had this thick New York accent, and I'm like, I don't know. I guess you didn't see the fine print. I want musicians from the South, and he started playing spoons in his kitchen or something. I could hear him. He's playing, and he was doing this Dixieland backline groove, the funeral thing. And I'm like, this guy has the groove I need. And he said, would it help if I tell you I'm from the South Bronx? He wanted the gig so bad, and he's still with me. We're still playing the same three guys, and but the problem with the northern fellas is that they complain about Southern food, and this and this is what I was trying to avoid, having to do all of this sort of thing, and so I baptized him in the best way possible. I took him straight to the Waffle House down there, He was bitching about he would never try grits, He was all free range. He would have loved Portland, Everything had to be just perfect for his body. And he goes in, and I'll try. He finally acquiesced to trying grits, but he goes into the Waffle House. Y'all know the Waffle House. They don't have them here, right? But you know what I'm talking about. And he goes into the Waffle House and orders grits without butter. It's just not done. It's not done. It's not right, It's not right. And so the waiter, the thing about growing up in the South, if God forbid you have to give somebody bad news. I was explaining this to my family member Jerome the other day. I once had to fire somebody, a musician, and I was trying to be so nice to him, he didn't know he had been fired, and he showed up to the next gig, So living in New York, I had to develop a little bit thicker technique, so to speak, and but not in the Waffle House. When my friend, the drummer, ordered grits without butter, the Southern waiter said with just no uncertainty, he said, I'm sorry, sir, but they gon' be butter. They gon' be butter. I just love that. So, so listen, when y'all get a visitor from out of town and they want to come in and around this time of year and they ask you, is it going to be raining in Portland? You just tell them they going to be butter. They going to be butter. So I had to write a song over this. I'm salivating, I'm Pavlov's man. Lube up the iron with the aerosol. I smell the bacon and the hot pecans. I do hope that I don't embarrass y'all. I get the feeling that this place is under your cosmopolitan suspicion. You very nearly made a fatal blunder. 2 order grits with butter missing. They gonna be butter people where you from. And that's just the way this kind of food gon' come. They gonna be waffles when you come into the house. They gonna be butter when you come down south. Scour the menu through the laminate for anything on it subtle or insipid. Look how the pictures on it obviate. They gonna be smothered in lipids. What place of business does represent 11 letters black and yellow? I like the dishes with the messes bin. Let's get a booth around the elbow. They gon' be butter people where y'all from. That's just the way this kind of food gon' come. They gon' be waffles when you come into the house. They gon' be butter when you come down south. Butter! Come to Dixie, be my guest. Just leave it up to me to where go. Your dietitian may not be impressed. You want the essence of a Sergo. One place of business doth represent 11 letters black and yellow. I like those dishes with the messes bin. Let's get a booth around the elbow. Chandeliers, the wonderful sheen on the butter appears. South of the border between the Carolines, that's about where a northerner should bear in mind. Oh, they gon' be butter people where y'all from. That's just the way this kind of food gon' come. They gon' be waffles when you come into this house. They gon' be butter when you come down south. Sing it with me. Butter! You know, so many singer-songwriters, they torture themselves mining the depths of their soul, and I go to the Waffle House and write a damn song. So. I think of me and you. I do. I think about you day and night. Hold you tight. Think about the one I love. Hold you tight. Happy together. If I should call you up, invest a dime, you say you belong to me, and ease my mind. Imagine how the world could be so very fine, happy together. I can see me loving nobody but you for all my life. When you're near me, darling, the skies will be blue for all my life. I didn't offend anybody on that one. A perfectly happy song, and I'd made some sort of a dark thing out of it. I mean, it almost sounded like 9 Inch Nails or something, you know. But I'm going to take the bold step now of, I'm just looking at my list to make sure. Yeah, I'm going to pick it up, but I'm traveling on this little short run this is not really a tour for me. I'm here to see family, and I'm so glad that we spent 4 days in Portland. And the thing about traveling with one guitar for me is I play in a bunch of different tunings, and a lot of y'all are music people and folk people, and you know that if you're going to take one thing I had to learn the hard way, if I'm going to try to translate a fiddle tune to guitar and play it right, I have to retune the darn thing, because fiddles are not in the same tuning the guitars are, and it just sounds right. So the thing about tuning is it gives us all a chance to visit. So I'm just going to talk for a second while I'm tuning. So what I've found in my Okefenokee research, are y'all still with me? Okay. Yes, thank you for meeting me in the house. Thank you. I read about a song that was played from island to island by an old fiddler and a banjo player. His name was Hamp Mizell, and he was a hunting guide, and that's how he made his living. The folks lived on the islands out in the swamp. People, you think of the swamp, you think of the Everglades. It's different. It's beautiful old oak trees and some pines, but back then there were cypress trees. And the cypress trees in that area, in that swamp, were as big around as the redwoods a little bit north of Arcata, just south of this state. But y'all know where I'm talking about. I think is it the Klamath River, or do I have it right? That area. Anyway, going towards Arcata. Not the sequoias, but the redwoods. And the cypress trees were as big around as those. But they were shaved bare in the Okefenokee between 1900 and 1920. Very few of them, original growth, are still there. And a ranger said to me on one of my last visits, she says, there's one little patch of trees that they didn't get. And I said, why didn't they get them? She said they couldn't get to them. And then I said, well, if they couldn't get to them because there was a lot of money involved, how do you know about them? And she said, drone photography, So they found a patch of old growth cypress, and they have invited me to go out and see them at some point. But anyway, back to the book. It was talked about, there was a song that was talked about called Catfish. And it was said that if you didn't know Catfish as a banjo player, you were not a legitimate banjo player. The problem was in the Okefenokee archives, nobody had recorded that particular song. So I went for a couple of years without hearing the song. I only had the lyrics that were written about in the book. And this professor from Georgia Southern University helped me with it all. And he said, you need to stay in the South and look in the thrift stores. You'll find the record. Just keep looking for it. And sure enough, in Charleston, South Carolina, I found a recording of a song. The lyrics were not exactly right, but that was the way things happened. They traveled just word of mouth and so on, porch to porch. And I knew I had the right song. So then I had the music. And so I learned the darn song. But it was such a tribulation getting to that point. There was a song called Catfish John that I learned for a while. It's kind of an old country song. I was so proud of that, and that for a while I thought that was the right song. And a young neo-hippie woman said to me in Asheville, North Carolina, "That's a Jerry Garcia song," or you're way off, man. And that's the thing about research. You go down these dead ends, and you can't be too sure of yourself. And I really wasn't sure, but I thought, I was hoping I had it. One more thing. I'm going to play this song, but before I start, I want to tell you about this little thing, this stomp box. Now, just for those old schoolers, those hardcores out in the audience who are going like, "Oh, he's got an electronic device," There are those. But please, at least allow me to explain myself. On 2 trips ago to the Okefenokee Swamp, I had purchased this thing from one of the music stores, and it just had these samples in it that were, you know, they were made in Asia and so on, and they were like hip hop samples, and I didn't want to get up here playing an acoustic guitar and do a hip hop sound, you know. I mean, I love hip hop music, I love electronic music, I really do, but I didn't want that. So I took microphones out into the Okefenokee Swamp to the only remaining homestead, the Chesser Homestead on Chesser's Island in the Okefenokee Swamp. I cleared the area best I could for rattlesnakes, and I went up under that porch, the front porch, with Neumann microphones. If you guys are musicians, you know what they are. They're not cheap. And I recorded me stomping on that front porch. Wherein and whereafter, I took those recordings to the studio in St. Augustine, Florida, and I cleaned them up, and I loaded them into this foot switch. So we're dealing with techno-organic here tonight. So that's what you're hearing. You're hearing a recording of me stomping on that porch in the Okefenokee. So are y'all ready? Here's Catfish. See that catfish going upstream, mouth with a butter, gill for the green. Caught that catfish by the snout and then turned that catfish inside out my beak. Banjo Sam, come on. Marie, Banjo Sam. If you want to go to court and tell you where to go, way to country, way below. When you get there, the folks ain't home and the girls are mad 'cause the hair ain't come by me. Banjo Sam, money, Banjo Sam. Jaybird sat on a hickory limb and he looked at me. I hit him and I picked up a rock and I hit him on the shin and he said, by God, I don't do that again. Mind me, Banjo Sam. Mind me, Banjo Sam. Banjo Sam. Banjo Sam. Banjo Sam. I'm going to play two more songs and we're going to take a break. Are we still doing that, Margo? I think we're going to take... Is that okay? I mean, it's a Sunday night, but is a short break all right? I mean, I don't need it, but I think that's what they want to do. Okay, yeah, okay. All right, I'm going to do two quick songs of my own, This is from the Swamp Cabbage repertoire. I don't much listen to guitar players like I was mentioning, but I took this one. I have an old 1929 Vega banjo, and I wrote this on that instrument. It's an instrumental called Sugar House. Forgot I'm going to put in the amplifier, the little speaker in there, just for a second. Oh, it's electronic. Y'all still with me? She said says she never leaves the neighborhood, but she's dressing like she's going to Hollywood. Oh yeah. I guess I should say, oh no. If you shake it all night, keep the lid on tight. All right. I got suspicious by the smell of her hair. How did those spies end up when I know? Oh yeah. I guess I should say, oh no. If you shake it all night, keep the lid on tight. All right. Cola, getting out of khaki like going back to New Orleans. Just like that mason jar at grandma's house. If you want to keep your jelly fresh, you got to keep the fungus out now. If you shake it all night, keep the lid on tight. All right. Time. All right. What about my All right, thank you. I don't. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. I'm glad you've liked the first set. We're going to take a break, which is always a risk on a school night, whatever. Some of you might leave. If you leave, thank you very much for coming out to the Artichoke. This will give you a chance to get a glass of wine and tip the house and do all those sorts of things. I take short breaks, so I'm going to be right back, okay? 10 minutes at the max. So, okay, stick around. Thank you very much.
Hello, old friends. Welcome in from the rain and the snow. We've gathered here together for those outside we do not know. By this kindness to our brothers we admit we too are cold. Feel the fires of injustice. Sing the songs of winter folk. I'm Tom May, and this is Winterfolk time again. Winterfolk 37 at the Alberta Rose Theatre, Saturday, February 21st, 2026. Tracy Grammer will be our headliner, flying back from Massachusetts to again grace us with her beautiful songs and amazing stage presence.
And I fly away beyond these walls.
Winterfolk 37 at the Alberta Rose Theatre, Saturday, February 21st at 7 p.m. Tickets are available at winterfolk.org and at Music Millennium and the Alberta Rose Theatre. And this year we are raffling off this beautiful art and luthier guitar donated by Artichoke Music on Powell Boulevard, as well as a full day of recording at one of the finest recording studios in the Western U.S., Billy Oskay's Big Red Studio in Corbett, Oregon. Raffle tickets are just $10, available at Artichoke Music and also the night of the performance. One raffle ticket, two big prizes. Winterfolk benefits transition projects, making life better for our houseless community and all of us throughout this metro area. So we'll see you February 21st at the Alberta Rose Theatre, 7 p.m., Winterfolk 37. Concert tickets are available at winterfolk.org. Raffle tickets are available at Artichoke Music. Hello, old friends. Welcome in from the rain and the snow. We've gathered here together for those outside we do not know. By this kindness to our sisters we admit we too are cold. Feel the fires of injustice. Sing the songs of winter folk. Feel the fires of injustice, sing the songs of winter folk. I'm Tom May, and this is Winterfolk time again. Winterfolk 37 at the Alberta Rose Theatre, Saturday, February 21st, 2026. And this year we are raffling off this beautiful art and luthier guitar donated by Artichoke Music on Powell Boulevard, as well as a full day of recording at one of the finest recording studios in the Western U.S., Billy Oskay's Big Red Studio in Corbett, Oregon. Raffle tickets are just $10, available at Artichoke Music, and also the night of the performance. One raffle ticket, two big prizes. Feel the fires of injustice, sing the songs of winter folk.
Well, I promised it wouldn't be too long. It felt all right, I think. So while I'm getting tuned up and strapped in again, I'll tell you why I'm especially honored to be in Portland. When I was a kid in 1974, my family took a train from Jacksonville, Florida, all the way to here. No, we flew here and we took a train back. That's the way it worked. But you had to go through Seattle to take that train back to Jacksonville. Didn't matter. Nobody cares about that. But my first order of business, my father was an architect. He's gone now, but all he cared about was going to the convention and seeing the buildings and the architecture and seeing the old lumber mills and that kind of thing in the area. Y'all know about that stuff. And all I cared about was seeing the concert halls in Portland, because I was just starting to fall in love with music, and I envisioned myself being at some of these things. And I don't know if y'all remember Rolling Stone magazine. They would print the concert tours on the back pages of the Rolling Stone magazine. And so I knew and memorized all the concert venues all over the country. I'm just killing a little time here because I've got to tune back. But, so forgive me. And I would always see when a band came to this town, most of the time they would play the Paramount, which was it's now, I think, called the Portland Theater, or what's the other name? There's another, but it has a sign out front that says Portland, right? So originally it was the Portland Theater, and then Paramount bought it in early 70s, I think, something like that. It was a rock and roll venue, basically. So my first order of business, we were staying in a Red Roof Inn or something over near the Coliseum. There was no Rose Garden. And I walked as a kid all the way from there to the Paramount. That's kind of a long walk. I didn't care. I just wanted to see the damn Paramount because all my favorite bands were playing there. And some of the live albums of the day had been recorded there and at the Paramount in Seattle. And that was a good deal for those bands because they could bring in that equipment from LA or whatever, and they could record it here, and they could record in Seattle, and they had 2 chances to get it right, you know? And there were so many live albums. The Guess Who Live was done up in Paramount up there. I don't know does this mean anything to y'all? This is Black Oak, Arkansas recorded their live album at the Paramount here. And there were others, but I had a poster, and I still have it, of Steely Dan playing at the Paramount. Steely Dan, first version of Steely Dan. And Michael McDonald was their backup singer. You know, he wasn't even listed on the poster, you know. But that was what was going on that tour. And and my brother was into Cheech and Chong, and Cheech and Chong was playing at Symphony Hall, you know. And I think Symphony Hall, I don't know if it's still standing, but it was a white building, kind of it was where the symphony played. It was posh, but I couldn't imagine Cheech and Chong playing there, you know. But they did. And then the big one for me was I saw that Grand Funk was playing in 1974, in June of 1974, and they were playing at the Memorial Coliseum. And my buddies in Wet Willie were the opening act, and I went to that show. I didn't know how I was going to pay for my ticket. And it wasn't that much to ask of the universe, because at that point you could see a band for $5, you know? And I borrowed $5 from my mother, and she was like, don't tell your dad, you know? And so I went over and saw Grand Funk. And this is how passionate I was about rock and roll venues, because I wanted to so much. I envisioned myself, that was my dream, and I memorized them all over the country. The very next morning at 8 a.m., I showed up at the Coliseum, and I walked into the bowels of the Coliseum, and I just walked. I got up on the stage, and the whole, the construction guys were there, and they were cleaning the place up, and they didn't even see me. And I was up on the stage in this whole empty Coliseum, just wondering what that felt like in the Memorial Coliseum, or the veterans, whatever it's called. And then I started smelling pot. About 9 o'clock, they had opened the doors, and Chicago was going to be coming to town. So all the hippies were there buying tickets, and they were in a line to get tickets, and they were just the pot was coming through. But pot was not legal at that point, I don't think. But you know, it was basically legal. You know, we all know how that goes. But anyway, and I had this bright idea. I just walked all around the arena, and I made so much money picking up money that people, the stoners from the night before, had left behind, and I paid my mother back for the ticket. And she was so worried about that. And but anyway, that kind of started my dream, if you will, to play in those sorts of venues. And there was one night that excuse me, I was walking in New York City. I was an adult. I was playing with Richie Havens at that point. It was raining, it was snowing, I had a raincoat on. And I looked up at Madison Square Garden. My post office was right next to it. And I said to myself, you know, I got to deal with this. I got to accept the fact that I'll never play in these arenas. I'll never play in Madison Square Garden. And that was like a Sunday night, like this is. The very next day, Richie calls me, he goes, Walt, you won't believe where we're playing. And the gig was at Madison Square Garden, and we were going to be in the round for some special show. So I'm telling you this to say that when you think it's over, it ain't over. It's not necessarily over. And that really applies to people who are moving up in the years just as much, because the stuff that Judy Collins told me, I was just sharing this with Red back in the back, I think. Judy Collins told me, and I toured with her in Canada quite a bit as an opening act. She said, Walter, the closer you get to age 70, you're going to have more job security, because people just want, you know, now she's talking to a musician here. She says, people are just, they don't know how long you're going to be around. They want to come see you, you know? And it's like, well, I'll take it. However, whatever the motivation is. And but I'm gonna play a Richie Havens song now, and I would end up playing twice in Madison Square Garden with Richie, and twice in another dream venue of mine, Carnegie Hall. So you just never know. Yes, absolutely. All right, you just inspired a story. I'm sorry, sir, but this was a good one, and I'm gonna forget. I won't say it unless I say this. Can I just take 2 minutes? This is sort of spiritual in nature, but it's not what you think. So don't worry, I'm not gonna save anybody. But for my audition with Richie Havens, this relates to what you just said. For my audition, I auditioned for Richie in a basement studio in Jersey City. And I didn't know what I was going to be playing. He didn't tell me anything. And in retrospect, that was all sort of by design, because they wanted to figure out how flexible I was, you know, how much I could turn on a dime and so on. But that's important for traveling with Richie, because he was like one of the living ambassadors. He didn't want to be introduced or thought of as this, but he was in fact an ambassador of that first generation hippie ideology of just let things happen and let things flow. And I didn't ask any questions. The song just started. I had one song to prove myself and get that gig, and the song was Freedom. And he played Freedom with the same intensity and the same ferocity and the same commitment that he played Freedom at Woodstock in the movie. No difference. Full out. And it was just me and Richie and his manager in that little basement. And And I thought, that's respect. He's got enough respect for me. And I was, you know, I was a guy who wanted a job from him, basically. And I thought, he also is giving 100% no matter where it is. And I'm telling you, I learned that from Richie. Again, not from a lesson, but it's like when you come to your office, as we were saying to my relatives, when you show up for work, you know, you give you 100%, whatever it is. That's how you show respect for what you're doing. And also, I don't think it's just a matter of respect. Richie, that was his way of giving gratitude for his blessings, you know, and that's why I think it's spiritual. You know, he went at everything 100%. So this is a beautiful song from Richie's first album called Follow. Slow it down. Let the river rock you like a cradle. Climb to the treetops, child, if you're able. Let your hands tie a knot across the table. Come and touch the things that you can't feel, and close your fingertips and fly where I can't hold you. Let the sun rain fall and let the dewy clouds enfold you. Maybe you can sing to me the words that I have told you. If all the things you feel ain't what they seem, then don't mind me, 'cause I ain't nothing but a dream. The mockingbird sings each different song. Each song his wings, they won't stay long. Do those who hear think he's doing wrong, while the church bell tolls one note song, and the school bell tingles to the throng. Come into the things you cannot hear, and close your ears, child, and listen to what I'll tell you. Follow in the darkest night the words that may impel you. The song that I am singing may disturb or serve to quell you. If all the things you hear ain't what they seem, then don't mind me, 'cause I ain't nothing but a dream that you can follow, that you can follow, that you can follow. Thank you. I feel like picking it up here. This is one of those songs that I was inspired to do by listening to how the pianos work in spiritual music and trying to translate it to guitar. You know what I found out, at least with the European spiritual music, the old hymns, when I first started playing those things and working them out on guitar, all of a sudden I was playing like Pete Townsend of The Who. And it really is no surprise to me, you know, if those guys were listening to these songs like Crown Him with Many Crowns and so on, those things, they sound like the theme from Tommy, seriously, when you translate them to guitar. And in this particular case, I was inspired by a very different cast of characters. The Blind Boys of Alabama. Anybody like their music? In this one, the song starts with, it was an old spiritual that they redid. And not a guitar on the recording, but there's a piano player and an organ player, very typical in black churches. I tell you what, if I went to worship with an organ player and a piano player in the church band, I'd still be in church. But the power that you feel, it's not just a power, it's a responsibility. Because it's just, and that's what I love about working with great musicians. You want to live up to their greatness and the importance behind the music. So this is a song that I got, and what's ironic about this is when I translated the piano and the Hammond B3, are y'all still with me? When I translated that to guitar, it sounds like a darn banjo. But a banjo, ironically, was brought to this continent by the African Americans during the slave days. And it hit land around the Gullah territory and in the Barrier Islands off South Carolina. And eventually the white folks took a hold of it and made country music out of it and that kind of thing. But listen to this when I get deep into the song, how the banjo comes out. And all I had to go on in this recording was a drummer, of course, bass player, and a Hammond B3 organ and a piano. Check this out. Hear the banjo in there? Oh, blind Barnabas stood on the way. Blind Barnabas stood on the way. Oh, blind Barnabas stood on the way. Oh, blind Barnabas stood on the way. Blind Barnabas stood on the way. Oh, blind Barnabas stood on the way. Book of James, healing the sick and the crippled and lame. He gave to the poor and the needy bread. He healed the sick and people he raised the dead. They tell me that came from Galilee. He stood by a man who could not see. The man was blind and crippled from birth. They tell me that name was Barnabas. They said, oh, blind Barnabas stood on the way. Blind Barnabas stood on the way. Oh, blind Barnabas stood on the way. Oh, blind Barnabas stood on the way. Blind Barnabas stood on the way. Oh, blind Barnabas stood on the way. Woo! When Barnabas heard that the law was nigh, he fell to his knees, began to cry and said, sweet Jesus from Galilee, can't you have a little mercy on me? He said, oh, Lord, son of David. Oh, Lord, Mary's baby. Oh, Lord, be the healing hand of a blind man. Oh, Lord, son of David. Oh, Lord. Well, my Lord stopped and he turned around. He saw old Barnabas on the ground. He touched his eye with the palm of his hand, and Barnabas saw like a natural man. He said, oh Lord, son of David, oh Lord, Mary's baby, oh Lord, be the healing hand of a blind man. Oh Lord, son of David, oh Lord, Mary's baby, oh Lord, be the healing hand of a blind man. Oh Lord, man of David, oh Lord, Mary's baby, oh Lord, be the healing hand of a blind man. Oh Lord, son of David, oh Lord, Mary's baby, oh Lord, be the healing hand of a blind man. Yeah. Ba, 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 Blind Barnabas stood on the way. Oh, blind Barnabas stood on the way. Oh, blind Barnabas stood on the way. Blind Barnabas stood on the way. Oh, blind Barnabas stood on the way. Good God Almighty, have mercy on me. Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, every time I get in trouble for even when I try to play the blues, I get in trouble. I just don't have the right. It's not the right that I don't have the right feel. I just don't have the repertoire. There was a man in Tallahassee, Florida. I played a great blues club down there called Blue Tavern, and a man was mad at me. He was really mad. He had seen that they had advertised me as a blues. I was playing in the blues club, and he came wanting that Delta blues, and he wasn't getting the Delta blues from me. And I said respectfully, sir, I don't do that because there's so many people that do that so much better than me. I do a kind of a swampy blues, a Florida style blues. That's where I'm from, and that's what I feel like I know how to do best. And he goes, I can't believe you don't play the old blues. And you know, you drive 6-8 hours to a show, and you work for a tour, and on that kind of basis, if a guy's unhappy with me, it kind of irritates me sometimes, you know. And I was like, good Lord, nothing I can do is good enough for him. I said, look, you want old blues, right? He says, yeah, I want the old stuff. I said, how's 1650 for you? I was pissed. And so he didn't have much to say about it, but of course, in his mind, the blues didn't exist before, you know, the Mississippi Delta era, you know. In his mind, B.B. King and so on were the inventors of the blues. And I said, the blues is a human condition. People have been having the blues. Well, blues as a music form is one thing, but I'm going to demonstrate to you that the blues has been around for a long time. And so I did this in a blues club, and it's a song called Ciel Dolce e il Tormento. It's in Italian. And that is, if there's any Italian speakers, this is old Italian that I'm going to sing in. And it means the sweetness, Ciel Dolce e il Tormento. The sweetness and the torment. And the way the song, the plot of the song is this guy is so much in love with this person, and this person will not give unto themselves. It ain't gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. And Claudio Monteverdi wrote the song, so, you know, this is in the Baroque period. And the only thing he was left to do, the only thing that could save his life and keep him functioning as a human being is falling in love with the torment of not having this person. And I thought, that is the damn blues right there, you know. That is the blues. He found a way to survive but he fell in love with that which he could not have. So give me some showbiz. Yeah, a lot of showbiz on this one. And I'm going to say one thing. I've got to no showbiz. Just for a second. Sorry. My hands are shaking a little bit, and it's I want to say something. I have had I had an accident in early January. I slid on the ice in a tore a ligament, and I had surgery in my hand, so it gets weak every now and then. I don't have any other issues, but and I've got to go back into surgery. But so these songs are tricky. Half of the time I spend trying to do workarounds so that I can keep playing. But it's kind of fun in a certain way because I'm simplifying a lot of this stuff, you know. But I'm tired of hearing Django Reinhardt jokes. So don't, you know, he was the singer from the guitar player from the 20s, and he only had 2 fingers. So please don't make me go through that. Anyway, showbiz, please. Si dolce tormento che in seno mi sta, io vivo contento per crudeltà. Nel ciel di bellezza s'accresce fierezza et manchi pietà, che sempre qual scoglio all'onda d'orgoglio mia fede sarà. Per fuoco, per cielo riposa nel porto del cielo riposo averò, si colpe mortale con rigido srale il cor mi impiagò, cangiandomi sorte col dardo di morte il cosa nero. Scoglio all'onda d'orgoglio mia fede sarà. Thank you. It's a beautiful song, and I left something out in the story. The only reason I knew that in the first place is because when I was singing in a rock and roll band, when I was in my late 20s, early 30s, I would sing my voice out. You know, I just didn't know how to sing. And I would play 4-hour shows, you know, and drive 6 hours and play another 4 hours, and I would just blow my voice out. So I went to an opera teacher, and she taught me how to sing and to save my voice, and it all kind of, it's funny how life just, you don't know you're being prepared for something, but you are, you know. And later I would start studying these hollers and so on, and I'm going to do a holler for you now. This is one that I took note for note from the Library of Congress. This is a different one that I started with. And I recorded this, and all of those spiritual songs that I've done are on my new record called Shoulder It. And this is really not even a sales pitch because we don't have any merch here tonight. We didn't travel with it. We were just, this was mostly a family trip, and so you can buy it online or get it from our site if you want. But the name of the group is the Unlawful Assembly, and so this is one of the only two on the record that I have written myself. This is a true folk tale. Well, true and tale kind of, maybe those are contradictory, but it is a true story that I have embellished because it's impossible to know exactly what went on. There is a lot of documentation of slaves escaping from the rice plantations in southeast Georgia. All of this stuff is just coming to light, folks, and I grew up in that area, and nobody ever taught me about the slave trade and how it manifested itself along the Georgia barrier islands. It was mostly not cotton. It was mostly rice, and it was huge. The business was just vast. And in doing my research, again, I feel sometimes so foolish, but I mean, I feel like I gotta be with where this music came from. I went out there to Hoffwell Broadfield Plantation, which is near Darien, Georgia, right on the coast between Savannah and Jacksonville. And I'm out there like walking around, and I come upon this sign that says, "Danger, alligators do not go out here." And the conditions under which these folks would work, and I wanted to get an idea of the vastness of the operation. And I told the ranger that I was out there walking around, and he said, "You can't be out there." And I'm like, "Well, this is a national park or whatever. It's a historic site. Why can't I see this?" He goes, "It's dangerous. I mean, the gators everywhere, and you'll get carried away by mosquitoes." And I said, how can I find, to the best of my abilities, how can I understand the vastness of this operation? He kind of looked around and he leaned in and he goes, "Google Earth." And sure enough, I went to Google Earth, and for miles, that whole area is laid out, the marshes are laid out in grids. And those were canals for the rice trade. Now, how that relates to this song is that it was documented, historians have documented, starting around the time of William Bartram wrote a book called Travels. It's a fascinating read. And this guy in perfect English, and he's very articulate, and he holds no bias against the slaves or the Native Americans that he encountered. It's very scientific the way he recounts it. So read that sometime if you can. But he talks about slaves escaping the plantations, and they would head into the swamp. Why? Because chances are nobody's going to come after them at that point. But it was also later understood that the swamp territory was manageable in a way that's similar to some of the areas that they were coming from in West Africa. And but they needed to get to the swamp to cross the St. Mary's River. St. Mary's River borders Georgia and Florida in northeast Florida. Why do they want to get into Florida? Because for a large part of the time, during the slave days, Florida was Spain. If they could get into Spain, they were done with the slave business, and they could serve in the Spanish army, convert to Catholicism, and head to a little encampment there called Fort Mose just north of St. Augustine. And they were free. So I wrote a song about this, and it's called Georgia Rice. It starts with a holler. The holler I have taken note for note from the archives of the Library of Congress. But the rest of it was fictitious. I mean, it's based on stories that happened. So I painted the picture of a slave being pursued, and he hears a white man out there hollering, and he thinks, "I'm going to take a chance and go towards this guy who's hollering and see if he can show me the way to the St. Mary's." So it's a song of hope. And I'm sure that in certain situations, people did the right thing and helped each other out, especially when it was just them out in there in the middle of nowhere, and they didn't have an audience, you know, and they were just human beings, and their hearts could drive them. But this is a song of hope, and it's called Georgia Rice. So showbiz, please. Thank you. One more thing. I'm sorry, but this is important. The reason, forgive me, but I have forgotten your name. It's a different person. But anyway, whoever's working the board, let's give him a big hand tonight. Sorry. Thank you. The reason, again, this is that techno-organic stuff. The reason I asked for showbiz, and it's that big reverb sound, because that's the way it sounds when you're singing through the pines in the Okefenokee Swamp. If it does not sound dry, it doesn't sound like, it doesn't sound like that. It sounds like, showbiz, please. It just carries, and you can even give me more carry than that. But anyway, the trees have no lower branches, and it just carries for miles. So that's why I get them to do the showbiz. So now, ladies and gentlemen, the song Georgia Rice. Sorry about the introduction. So. Heard you holler from a mile away. I thought he ain't a party to the search, and I prayed. Hound dogs tracking back the road at peace. And here they drown me smack in the Okefenokee. There's a damn good bounty when a slave break free. And you're gonna catch hell if you shelter me. I'm out looking for the St. Marie. I'm gonna wade in her water, she'll set me free. So I take my chance with the poison snake, 'cause the master won't hang the good money I can make. He crossed the line of what a man can be. Turn a man from a chattel and you clean him up nice, head him straight to battle from the Georgia Rice. Don't you wonder what I come up from under? Don't know how, but it's all the same. I gotta take my bow to the Queen of Spain. Don't you wonder what I come up from under? Folks can't figure why a man of God would risk his deed of granted sod for a slave out looking for the St. Marie. He's gonna wade in the water, he'll set him free. He crossed the line of what a man can be. Turn a man from a chattel and you clean him up nice, head him straight to battle from the Georgia Rice. Don't you wonder what I come up from under? Don't know how, but it's all the same. I gotta take my bow to the Queen of Spain. Don't you wonder what I come up from under? Up from under. damn good bounty when a slave break free. But you're gonna catch hell if you shelter me. I'm gonna cross the line of what a man can be. You might catch hell, but they won't catch me. Thank you. I'm going to do the other song on the record that I wrote. I co-wrote this one actually with Stan Lynch, and Stan Lynch was he has been one of my mentors for years. He was the original drummer. He played drums with Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. So if you've heard a Tom Petty hit, you've heard Stan Lynch play drums, and he has been nice enough to me to play on many of my recordings throughout the years in various bands. But as far as my solo material goes, I have one solo record. I'm starting now to work on my second. It takes me a long time to get around to recording. I just work slowly. But the Unlawful Assembly group has a recording. It's a fantastic group. As a matter of fact, I'm honored tonight to be in the room with Red Ray Frazier, who's the brother of the bass player in the Unlawful Assembly, and he lives here in Portland. Red Ray, some of y'all may know Red. He's a musician as well, and fantastic player. So thank you, Red, for being here tonight. And but this is the group also. In the group is Stephen Williams. Stephen played for years with David Byrne and Diggable Planets. He was the drummer during the 90s with them. And the great Ada Dyer is a female vocalist in the group. Ada, she called me about 2 years ago. She says, I'm not going to be able to work all year with you, Walt, playing live gigs. So the Unlawful Assembly hasn't played too much. And I said, well, Ada, what's going on? I thought it was a health thing, She goes, I got a gig. And I go, well, who's the gig, She goes, Bruce Springsteen. So she travels the world singing with Bruce. So Bruce is kind of he's over, his world tour is finished. And there's talk of them, ramping up again. But right now we're playing with Ada starting next month on the East Coast. And I'd love to bring the band out here at some point. It's so good. But it's a lot of the stuff that we're singing, that I'm singing tonight. And this is when I was a kid in the early '70s. That's when I started listening to pop music, and I didn't really like the rock and roll that was going on at that time. But I loved the R&B. I loved Al Green, the Shy Lights, the Stylistics, and of course Stevie Wonder and those groups. But so this has got that kind of feel to it. I know I hurt you such a long way back. Some people keep pushing on that, but you can't board the mercy train because you laid the track when you shouldered it, when you shouldered it, when you shouldered it. Everybody knows we need a change of heart, but What's it gonna take to open our eyes? Before we push the load across the pressure line, we better shoulder it. We better shoulder it. We better shoulder it. Oh, we shall overcome. Does that mean me and you? Everybody needs somebody to blame. But we go and load our guns, but does the freedom to give us the reason to? Who am I to say who is down and out until I had to live a life like that? And who am I to tell you to get over it until I've shouldered it, 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 until I've shouldered it. Everybody got a shoulder. All right, that's enough of that. I'm gonna do one more song tonight. Have y'all had an okay time? Thank you. I've got so much music written down here, but I'll just catch it the next time, you know, if that's all right with y'all. I can't wait to come back. I really can't. It's I've always wanted to play a proper show in Portland and never have by myself, you know, and played Leah Ladin a couple of times, and probably I opened for Judy at that auditorium that's across from what's the Schnitzer Hall. There's an auditorium over there. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. But I'm gonna pick up the pace and end with this one, I guess. I'm gonna dedicate this to I don't know. I think you know, this is not scripted, right? You know, you can tell my show is. Good Lord, can you imagine if I actually was made? I would be like herding cats to get me to stick to a script. It would be impossible. All right. Anyway, I'm gonna do my version of Freedom. Richie Havens was he really did other people's music completely in his own way. All right, here we go. Freedom, 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 freedom. Freedom, freedom, woo! Freedom, 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 freedom. Sometimes I feel like I'm a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Woo. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child, alone, way long away from my home. Freedom, 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 freedom. Freedom, 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 sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel oh like a motherless child, alone, way from home. Freedom, 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 freedom. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. I thank y'all very much. Woo! Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you. This is a gig of first for me. I've never worn a green jacket before. I had to do it for the artichoke. And I've never played in Portland solo, so and I've never played here, so thank you. And was it Anastasia, the person who? Thank you very much, Anastasia, for playing and opening the concert. Thank you so much. I feel embarrassed to even have to ask, but but I was just so focused on my thing when I came up and. But anyway, stay in touch. Please look us up on Facebook or all of those. There's an email sheet back there. I'd love to let you know when I come to town again. I believe in kind of staying with the same venue and building up and not moving out of here. If we start to gain more fans, we'll just do another night. That kind of thing, and just kind of so let's. Thank you, and I'll just use this as a platform to say thanks to Jerome and Jen. They're our relatives who live in Portland, and they've welcomed us to town. It's been great being here for 4 days, and it's always good to come here. So thank you again. Bye bye.